Good evening to you on this Thursday, the 14th of May, and welcome to the Social Impact on kwmedia.live. Thanks very much for streaming us live tonight. I'm Keenan Williams, and I'm with you every weeknight at 9 p.m. South African Standard Time. You can connect with us on all forms of social media at KWM Socials, or send us your WhatsApp, text, or voice messages to +27 764 769277. To listen to previous episodes of our podcast series, or to find out more about our anti-bullying campaign and entertainment brand, you can visit our website, which is kwmedia.live. Now, President Cyril Ramaphosa has announced that most of South Africa will move to level 3 lockdown restrictions by the end of May. However, he noted in an address to the nation last night that a number of hotspots which have reported a high number of cases will likely remain at level 4 restrictions. The president warned that the transition to the next phase of the coronavirus response will in many ways be more difficult than the present one. He said that the risk of infection outbreaks will increase as more people return to work. But when it comes to the spread of the coronavirus, we know that this is a global pandemic, and it has shaken much of the world's economy, and much of the world is in a global recession. Now, we know that when it comes to the coronavirus, we should be washing our hands or sanitize them frequently, and we should avoid touching our faces. But what about those of us who wear contact lenses? How do we indeed care for our eyes and also prevent contracting the virus through them? Now, joining me on the line is optometrist Dr. Dirk Booysen. Doc, thanks so much for joining me on the Social Impact again. Good evening to you.
Hello, Keenan. Thank you for having me on your program again.
It's always a pleasure having you on, Doc. Tell me, how do we protect our bodies from the coronavirus through the eyes?
Well, I'm not a virologist. Just some basic information about the coronavirus. Influenza is typically the A, B, and C. C is rarely affects or cause disease in humans. B can cause infections in humans, but that doesn't cause epidemics or pandemics. But A, influenza A, is typically responsible for the epidemics or the pandemics that we see. And if you go back in history, there's been a few of these pandemics, specifically in 1889 to 92, 1918 to 1919, which was the Spanish flu or H1N1, and 1957, 1968, and to a less extent in 2009. Specifically, these influenza viruses are endemic in aquatic birds, which are their natural hosts, and it infects the gastrointestinal tract of these birds. Although humans can get the disease from these birds or from their droppings, the virus won't spread from human to human if it's picked up in that modality. It needs an intermediate host, such as a pig, where it mutates, and then that specific strain can infect humans, and that can be passed from human to human. As we know, influenza viruses cause about 90% of all respiratory disorders, and this includes sore throat in humans. Coronavirus is an RNA virus, and it's roughly about 1 in 10,000ths of a millimeter in size. It looks like a dandelion with these spikes on its outside, and which is made up of hemagglutinin and neuraminidase. That's where the H and the N comes from in the nomenclature of the virus itself. Typically spreads via droplets from the respiratory system, and when you inhale this virus, it affects the respiratory system specifically. The virus will enter the respiratory system, or your sinuses, or somewhere in your throat, or somewhere finds a susceptible cell and bind to the cell. And once it binds to the cell, it enters the cell. And this is where the trouble starts, because when it enters the cell, it hijacks the cell's systems and makes it make copies of itself. Now, the fact that it's inside the cell is very difficult for your defense system or your immune system to actually detect it and actually kill it. So these things hide away from your immune system by being inside one of your body's own cells. So when it's made some copies inside the cell, it makes up to between 100,000, say, 1,000,000 copies. And one of the problems with RNA virus is that these copies are not all the same. They rapidly can mutate, so there could be thousands of different strains of the same virus within that cell. And eventually when the cell bursts open, these things then spread further into your respiratory system, and then eventually it affects the lungs quite deeply into the lungs. It penetrates deeply into the lungs, and eventually it'll affect other systems in the body as well. Now, HIV and coronaviruses are some of these RNA viruses that mutate the most rapidly. So this is just in a nutshell some of the problems that you have with these viruses. So it makes it very difficult to treat them, and because they mutate so rapidly, it's very difficult to make a vaccine that you can treat them. And that's why with the normal flu vaccines that you get every year, there's a new vaccine every year. So they sort of figure out which would be the strain that's going to be present and make a vaccine for that. But these things mutate rapidly. Viruses are not alive. They're not like bacteria that's a living organism. They're just a package of information or chemicals that is geared to replicate itself.
Doc, I like that you went into the science behind the virus as well, because sometimes when we just speak about the coronavirus, we just scrape the surface and don't really go into the depth of, the development and the mutation of a virus and why it's so difficult to get us to a stage where we are getting a treatment. I know there's lots of people debating about it on social media saying, we're in the 21st century, it's 2020 now, why is it taking so long for us and, the scientific bodies around the world to be able to develop a vaccine and a treatment so that we will be able to go back to our normal way of living life. And I know that you are not a virologist, but when it comes to speaking about the coronavirus, I asked to have you on because we're going to look at the coronavirus and the eyes. And if we're talking about eye care, I know that there's a lot of people walking around with face masks, but there's also many, many people walking around with goggles and face shields as well. Do face shields and goggles help contain the spread of the virus?
We know that the HIV and coronavirus can be found in tears, but there's no evidence at the moment that you can actually pick it up from the tears itself. So current knowledge suggests that these viruses spread, or the coronavirus specifically, spread by droplets from your respiratory system. So if you sneeze or cough, these droplets will then float in the air. I think they can float up to about 2 meters or 3 meters before they settle to the ground, because they're fairly light and can float quite a distance. So if you then wear a face shield and you sneeze, these droplets are not going to spread. Or if you wear a mask, obviously it is in the mask itself. The other thing that's important as well is that people touch their faces. So if you touch your face and there's particles of the virus on your skin of your face, and you have it on your hands, and you touch some surface somewhere, you're going to put the viral particles on that surface itself. So people are chronically busy with their face. They sneeze in their hands, or they touch their face or whatever. So it's very important to sanitize your hands, or clean them thoroughly, or use a proper hand sanitizer to sanitize it. Then wear a face mask or a shield, and just be safe in the sense that you don't want to spread it to somebody else. And then, I would suggest that you follow strict hygiene procedures. So if you work in an office environment where somebody else uses your calculator or whatever, just sterilize the buttons, or make sure that you clean the surfaces thoroughly with, say, a 1 in 10 solution of bleach, which is what we use in our office to sterilize surfaces. So yes, the face shields and the goggles will help you from picking it up. Goggles not so much, because it's not going to go into your eye. It'll have to go into your respiratory system to spread.
Thanks for that clarity. And we have some messages coming through. One coming through on our WhatsApp, a text coming through. If you'd like to send us a text or voice message, you're more than welcome to do that on WhatsApp. The number's +27 764 769 9277. This one comes through from Mike asking, how can people wear contact lenses better protect themselves? I'm someone who wears contact lenses, and I just wanted to find out if I should be wearing glasses at this time time instead of wearing contact lenses as to protect myself and my body from the coronavirus. Thanks very much, Mike, for sending that one through. You're more than welcome to also send through your messages via social media at KWM Socials. Doc, how do you respond to that message from Mike?
Well, very interesting question. Some latest research that just came out from Lyndon Jones in Canada, Prof. Lyndon Jones, quite a good practitioner there, came up and he actually says that there's no evidence that glasses protect you from the virus, and then again, there's no evidence that contact lenses help spread the virus itself. So what they did is they looked at some information specifically on, or they put out some information specifically on how to protect yourself if you are a contact lens wearer. So you can keep wearing your contact lenses during this thing itself, okay? But you have to practice good hygiene habits. So wash your hands, keep them clean. Your lens cases, keep them clean. Don't let anybody else fiddle with them. So your regular glasses, as I said, don't give you extra protection, but they might prevent you from touching your face if you wear glasses, although some people fiddle with their glasses quite a lot. So when you wear contact lenses or glasses, just keep your unwashed hands away from your face. And then the other recommendation, which is quite important, is if you feel sick, then rather stop wearing your contact lenses until you feel better. Now, we do know that the coronavirus does cause a conjunctivitis, but you won't get the conjunctivitis or inflammation of your conjunctiva or infection of your conjunctiva in the early phase of the disease. By the time you're in a hospital is typically when you see a conjunctivitis. So we won't see that as a presenting symptom, but it can cause a pink eye. Like all other viruses that cause pink eye, this virus can also cause a pink eye. So the trick is keep wearing your lenses, practice good hygiene, clean your cases regularly. Your regular glasses don't give you any more protection than your contact lenses do. And keep your unwashed hands away from your face. And if you feel sick, stop wearing your lenses. And then very importantly, use commercial cleaning products for your lenses, because all of these things that you clean and disinfect your lenses with will kill the virus.
Doc, there's a message coming through from Amy asking, is it bad to sanitize our hands if water isn't readily available and then applying our contact lenses with those same fingers?
Well, any alcohol-based product that you use, if you get it on your contact lenses, will damage the lens. Some of these lenses are very, very prone to damage from chemicals. So it's not advisable to get these things on it. The same with hand creams that ladies wear and use normally. If they get it on their lenses, it contaminates the lens surface, and sometimes it makes them. In recent weeks that we started practicing again, or the last few weeks we started practicing again, I've actually had a few patients that have had some of their RGP or hard lenses break, and we've sort of traced it back to maybe some of the hand sanitizers and some of the alcohol products are in there that may make the material more brittle. So advice would be, if you do use the hand sanitizer before you handle your lenses, just take maybe clean water, rinse your hands. If you don't have water available, use the solution that you store your lenses and just rinse off some of the hand sanitizer before you handle your lenses, and you should be fine.
That's optometrist Dr. Dirk Booysen. Dr. Booysen, thanks very much for joining me tonight on The Social Impact. Dr. Booysen's back again next week, Thursday, as we talk about eye care. So if you have any questions around eye care, maybe it can also create a theme or topic for next week's eye care discussion next week, Thursday, as Dr. Dirk Booysen joins us again. If you'd like to check out more episodes of our podcast series, you can go to kwmedia.life and check all the information out there. Remember to subscribe to our channel and subscribe to our site as well. We're trying to grow this community, and also to follow us on all forms of social media, on Insta, on Facebook, on Twitter at KWM Socials. Till tomorrow when we're back again with your African series, from myself, Keenan Williams. Keep rocking, SA. Bye-bye.